Hey guys, welcome back to another trade recap. Today I made $1,500 roughly trading futures on evaluation accounts, and yeah, so I'm just gonna recap the trades I took. I took two trades. Today was a no news Monday bank holiday, which I didn't even realize till I hopped on the charts. But I decided, well, I didn't decide. I saw two very clean trades and I decided to take them, and I ended up winning both of them. So I'm going to hop into the trade recap real quick. All right. So here we got two 50K accounts, up $1,503.46 on both of them. Yeah, so I'm gonna hop over to TradingView. I'm gonna get rid of the drawings, and I'm just gonna recap from the start of the day and what I saw, and the reasoning why I took the trades I took live time. So coming into the day, we had this big 4-hour fair value gap. Big 4-hour fair value gap after that big move, that big dump on Friday. I believe this was tariff news. So he had a big retrace, big dump, took out all this liquidity here. So coming in, I could see both biases. You know, we had this big dip. I could see us just start to come back up because that was a news, or whatever you want to call it, really volatile down move. So I mean, usually we just see moves up after that. Usually we don't see, it shot back up, further down, shot back up, further down. I don't know. Either way, I wasn't super heavily bullish or bearish bias coming into today. I just wanted to see what happened. So I was just aware of this gap. I was aware of this big bearish move. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see how price would respect this big move right here. So we had a big 4-hour. We had a big 1 hour right here. We were in coming into market open, which was right around here. But I didn't mark these out. I did mark this out as a potential short target. This 1 hour gap right down here that we could potentially rebalance into. Just something to keep note of. But I did end up zooming down to the 15-minute and marking out this fair value gap right here. Yeah, right here. So the reason I didn't mark out the 1 hour and 4 hour, I just thought the 15-minute fair value gap right here was more precise and more of a clearer picture of where we're at currently, because it was around like right here. So I don't really know. I couldn't explain to you why, but I guess it's just more of a precise, 15 minutes smaller. It's more of a precise little area to see rejection out of. So I wanted to see how we would respect this area. But coming into market open was about right here. So I'll just back it up to about right here. Okay, so right about here is where. So coming in, I saw, manipulation right here. Believe we were inside of no gap right here. A little bit of 30-minute. There's a 30-minute gap right here. So I could potentially see longs play out here. Have manipulation lower. Actually, we did run through this 15-minute fair value gap right here as well. So I was looking to see a follow through with this 15-minute change in the state right here. If I were to be bullish, and we were to get this 15-minute change in the state on this candle, or next candle. Yeah, neither one of these candles broke the change in the state, 15-minute change in the state. So I really did not want to see longs. after this point. I really would want to see this 15-minute change in the state get put in if I did want to see longs. And if that did occur, I would want to see this high right here, this internal high, which happened to be London high. So this is what I usually do: mark out London high, Asia low, London low as potential liquidity targets that I would target for either direction. Today, we had Asia. London came up, took Asia high, and came down and took Asia low. So, but we did. London left relative equal lows right here, which I did really like to see, especially after having this big leg up. I did like to see these lows still stay intact. So market open right here. I'll go on the 5-minute. So market opens. Well, first of all, the 15-minute held right here. The change in the state. It held the change in the state. So after seeing that, I didn't really want longs, especially once I looked at the 30-minute and I saw this imbalance right here. I saw this right here. And hold on, I'll change this. Was this a 15-minute gap? Yes. So I saw this 30-minute gap, and I saw this big wick. This closed at 9:30 at market open. It came up, tapped this, came all the way back down, and respected this 30-minute gap too. So after seeing this, no more longs were on the table. I was looking for shorts down to these relative equal lows. And to me, I was looking really for any reason to get in shorts after seeing this. So like this, yeah. So this is just really, really clean on the higher time frame. So one thing that I've been really trying to focus on is having higher time frame confluences when taking my trades, which just adds a lot more extra confidence in the trade I'm taking gonna play out, especially because having higher time frame confluence, that's where the higher time frame wants to go. Higher time frame holds higher power. That was kind of my thought process. The 30-minute closing telling me we wanted to go lower. The 15-minute holding bearish or not closing above bullish change in the state told me that we wanted to go lower. So I really wasn't paying attention to this 15-minute fair value gap right here that we had just ran, because we came up, tapped this 30-minute. It was actually a 30-minute BPR technically. Had this bullish and bearish imbalance that we held beautifully. Didn't quite hold the change in the state, but that wasn't really too big of a deal for me. I had enough confluence in this, just seeing this. So yeah, so I really ended up, I did not wait till this 5-minute got inverse because we just had a lot of volume come in. So it was right about, so we had this move and then immediate legs down. And I entered short right about here. I had stops right above these highs. TP. I entered 10 micro contracts, and yeah, this is exactly the entry I had. So yeah, 1.25 RR. I didn't really use any 1-minute confluences on this trade. But I was just so confident that market open volatility would do its thing, and these higher time frame confluences, I had confidence in that to play out to the draw. So it came out. Oh, the other thing, I'll zoom down into ES. This was an SMT. This was one of the biggest confluences to why I took this trade without much lower time frame confluence. We had an SMT here at these highs inside of a 15-minute fair value gap, hourly fair value gap, 4-hour fair value gap. Everything lined up perfectly going into market open. So I really didn't need to see I didn't need to see anything crazy on the 1 minute. We already had the forever model change in the state. I guess technically change in the state. Yeah, came through. Really, there was no other fair value. This was a small fair value gap right here that got ran through, but it came back up, respected this change in the state with this wick, started to play out lower. I wasn't on at this time, and it probably wasn't enough confluence at the time for me. Maybe, I don't know. It was just too early. I wasn't on. I probably hopped on around here, but nonetheless, I caught my piece of the pie. I got a very confident entry trade, went down, hit TP in 2.5 minutes, up 1,000 at this point. I risked about, I guess since I made 1,000, I probably risked 850, something like that. But with this volume, seeing all this higher time frame confluences line up in a, we're inside of a bearish, like multiple higher time frame bearish imbalances. This is just beautiful. This big SMT inside of a 15-minute fair value gap. I didn't need to wait to see this 5-minute close to enter, because with the volume that was already entering the market at this point, I had very strong conviction that it would just dump straight to this TP, and it did. Even if it did wait for at least just this 1 minute, got ran through right about here. You could really just enter this, put stops right here. That's a 1.5. I just decided to enter where I did because it happened very quickly, and I was just very confident in this move, so I just wanted to hop in. Once I saw this candle and then this candle start to run, I was like, I'm hopping in this. I didn't really calculate my position size exactly like I usually do. I usually hop on here, and if I want to sell, well, I don't know why it's doing this, but I'll hop out of replay mode real quick. But if I want to sell, I would, hop in here. I would say I wanted stop loss right here. I put in 24931. And I put how much I want to risk. So if I wanted to risk 1,000 on a trade like this, I'm not saying this is a trade I would want to take or anything. I'm just pressing a random place on the chart, but this is how I personally calculate risk usually. So if I wanted to determine how much I want to risk, I would just put in the stop loss where I want my stop loss to be, and then I put in how much I want to risk, and it'll tell me how much contracts I should use if I want to, or for how much I want to risk. So that's just how I personally do that. But I didn't really have enough time because this moved so quickly. But I had a rough idea, and it just happened to be exactly how much I wanted to risk. But yeah, that was the first trade, and that was very, very clean. This was probably the cleanest trade, at least in the month, for me. This was very, very clean. It's exactly everything I wanted to see. And it just so happened that today was a bank holiday, which I didn't even realize, to be honest, until I was in the trade. I should have checked the news before, but this setup was just way too clean that I didn't even care if it was a no news Monday, let alone a bank holiday. It was just so clean that, I just, like, there was plenty of volume. It proved that there was volume in the market. I'd say the biggest reason I would not recommend actively looking to take trades on a no news Monday, especially a bank holiday. But the whole reason people tell you and don't trade on no news Mondays, in my opinion, is just because in the long term, it's gonna be choppy and inefficient more times than not. So deciding to not trade on no news Mondays is more just about numbers game and not tempting yourself to take a trade when the conditions aren't, when the probabilities just aren't in your favor most of the time. So I usually don't take trades on no news Mondays. I try not to. Or I try to stay out of the market and disciplined, but this is just too clean for me to not take. And yeah, so I just decided to take this, and it was very, very clean. So I'm going to hop actually into the next trade now, but I'm going to clean this up actually a little bit. So we had this London low. This is where my last, well, not my last TP. I had one runner. I took 9 out of 9 out of 10 contracts off at London low. I had just left one on just in case we wanted to come down to this 1 hour gap that I marked out earlier as a potential area that I'd want to see if we continued lower. But we didn't, and it came back up, and I got stopped out. My last runner, right about here. So yeah, this trade itself made me 1,000 in 2.5 minutes. Also disclaimer, I'm on evals right now. This isn't real money. I didn't make $1,500. I don't want to, get that confused. But yeah, on evals, I'm 1 day of doing the same away from passing this. So if I have another 1,500 day, I'll hit 3K in profit on these accounts, and I will pass them. But I don't have any expectations. I'm just gonna make sure I'm doing what I'm doing, make sure I'm doing what I need to do, and not force any trades to try to pass it. So after this, after seeing London low get taken and immediate, rocket candles out of that, there was also, and there's SMT right here. So this is immediately what I saw, and I didn't lock myself out of the charts at this point because I was also 500 away from $1,500 day, which is what I want to see to that's half of my profit goal, and I have a 50% consistency rule. So if I make 1,500 and then 1,500 another day, I pass the account. But if I make that all in one day, I don't pass the consistency rule because you can't make more than 50% in one day with top step rules. So that was my thought process. I wanted to catch that last 500. I didn't need to catch that last 500, but everything that I needed to see happened. So I decided to enter and put about I put a couple $100 of risk on my evals because I was so confident in this playing out. So after this next 5 minute, this inversed, I'll take this off. This 5 minute fair value gap after putting in a bullish SMT inside of some type of fair value. I know there was a 30 minute. Yeah, the 30 minute was right here. So it came down, manipulated these lows, and then immediately reversed, which is this is the setup. This is my clean setup. This is pretty much A+. So I think I entered maybe about this next candle. Yeah, I think I entered right about here. Targeting London high. Had stops, I believe, right about here. So this just went straight up. So we went straight up after I entered, and then had a little bit of a retrace, I believe. Yeah, retrace back down in this 1 minute. I believe at this point I may have put my stop at break even. I'm not sure because I was just that confident in these highs getting taken, so I just kind of left it intact. I didn't want to get stopped out and then run again, although I probably would have re-entered, but I was just that confident in this move happening. After seeing all of this, after seeing this 5 minute get inversed, after seeing this big manipulation leg. So I mean, even this 1 minute change in the state, I believe, but I didn't need to see that because everything else, obviously, there was just a lot of confluence elsewhere, which I very much liked. So yeah, so at this point, I was up 1,000 on both accounts, and I decided to enter this, and my plan was just to take it off. My plan was to take it off when I was 500 in profit, whenever that was, because it was looking like 500 in profit was going to be before this got hit, before London High got hit. So I was just going to manually take it off there so I didn't have any issues with the consistency rule moving forward with Top Step. So I manually took it off right about here, I believe. Yeah, I think it was around the middle of this candle. That's where I manually took it off. It was about 500 on that trade too. So yeah, those were the trades I took for the day, and I was really not expecting this day to be so clean. Let alone when I was in that first trade, looking at the news and it being a bank holiday, which is crazy that it was this efficient. We had two damn near A+ setups, if not A+. This first one, I mean, minus not having lower time frame confluences, the higher time frame confluences were A+. Like, you couldn't ask for much better higher time frame confluences to see lower. Like, holding bearish on this bullish change in the state, not closing above this, coming up to this 30-minute fair value gap, rejecting, and still closing in this 30-minute fair value gap right here. That was just so clean, and I wasn't expecting it to be that clean. Right at market open too. Man, yeah. I would not recommend trading on bank holiday, no news Mondays. I definitely am aware that this wasn't the greatest news or greatest setup news wise, but I mean the government's still shut down, so there's not much red folder happening anyways. So I'm just going off of what looks efficient. I'm looking for volume too, so I saw volume in this. I market open here, this big candle, and then comes back down, it gets inversed. And I really like to see that. And then immediately out of this low, right back up. This wasn't London High, but this internal high. It was so clean. And I'm glad I caught it. I'm glad I had the confidence to catch it. I'm going to come into tomorrow. Not looking to take a trade, not actively trying to take a trade after this big day. Although if I see something clean, I'm going to put risk on it, That's the kind of mindset you got to be in. Me personally, I just try to come into the market not expecting to take a trade, not necessarily even wanting to take a trade. I try to find any reason I can not to take a trade so that I can narrow down my trades to only taking A+ setups. And that's just what I got to focus on now. Taking this trade is half the battle. The rest of the battle is not taking bad trades and maintaining this $1,500, almost $1,600 what's it called? Gain in my Top Step account. The goal, the other half of the battle is trying to keep this and not take bad trades. And that's really the goal. I'm also going to come out with more psychology videos. This wasn't really a whole psychology video. I mean, I definitely could make it out of this, but I could end up turning this into a psychology video, but this is really just a trade recap. I'll make psychology videos some other days, but, you know, this is a clean day. Just wanted to run through my thought process taking these trades, and yeah, just how I made $1,500 today on evals trading. So that will conclude the trade recap and my second video. So let me know what you think. Yeah, looking forward to passing this account sometime soon. You know, I'm just gonna make sure I take good trades. Make sure I lock in mentally and make sure I don't make any stupid mistakes, over trade, do anything I would regret. I just want to look for any reason I can to not take a trade, and just make sure I'm taking very, very clean setups and being confident in the trades I take. That's ultimately what it comes down to is having a set strategy and seeing everything you need to see and confidently entering the market. Whether it's the right or wrong thing, as long as you're confident, you can adjust and you can learn from the mistakes that you make, no matter what. So that's the name of the game: learning from your mistakes, taking accountability for your mistakes. I'm gonna learn from today, and the successful trades. I'm gonna take a note of what I did. Probably not recommend to myself for trading on bank holiday no news Mondays. Going forward, probably not going to do that again, at least for a while, because that you never really see this clean of price action on these days. But just so happened to, and I caught it, so not complaining. Great day, great great mentality, great psychology today, great execution, all around great day. So that'll conclude this video. See ya.